Maybe you want to get into C-suite, and now you wonder, how do I actually get there? And maybe you're sitting here and think, I already tried. I tried once, and then I tried twice, and I'm running into blocks. Any kind of glass ceiling, any kind of anything that stops me, however, always reaches out to me, getting me stopped somewhere. And we will help you today. Backed by popular demand. Hello and welcome back, Frankie Camp.
Hi, Niels. It's so nice to be back and
Thank you very
speaking with
much.
you again.
The audience demanded you back, so here we are
Yeah.
again. So you did something right. So when we talk about let's get straight into it. When we
Yeah.
talk about interviewing at the top, people want to go to the C-suite, and let's face it, they did reasonably well with their career up till now. So they said, I am not a failure in career. I didn't struggle so far, but suddenly there's a certain level where, for whatever reason, there's always a reason why they don't pick me, they don't promote me, or they tell me, oh, you're not there yet. Maybe next year, but they already told that to me for the last 3 years. What is your advice for people who say, hey, interviewing at the, is there anything these people need to do differently?
So, in my experience, when I've trained people to go onto C-suite leadership level, it's often the non-verbals or this attitude that they're going in with. Now, for many of them, they've got through roles, through people that they know, and through promotion. Suddenly, they're in this unusual situation where they are being interviewed by a group of people they don't know. As a result, what happens is you've got this feeling that these highly experienced people are going there with cap in hand, begging for the role.
Mm,
And one of the fundamental reframes that you need to do is this, if you're in that situation, is to think to yourself, I have all this experience and I need to check whether they're right for me because we think that we're interviewing to parade ourselves to them, but actually, don't waste your skills, your talents on an organization which could crush you politically or ability wise. Because I've seen that when people are really desperate because they don't believe in themselves and they
mm.
take on roles where the red flags are flying like a Grand Prix racing track. And then they're ignoring them. They go, no, no, because you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah.
The thing is, sometimes having so much experience is a little bit of a curse because you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I can't see where I fit, which is why I work with people because I'm pulling out exactly what they've got and how it meets the competencies of the role that they're going for. And coming back to attitude, recruitment consultants or headhunters don't help because the one thing that I can't believe they're still saying this, they they'll lean forward and say almost conspiratorially, you do understand that this is a competency based interview. Well,
Hmm.
of course it's a competency based interview. Every interview is competency
Should
based.
be. That's the whole point of doing them, isn't it?
Well, they don't want to know about what you're incompetent at. So
Yeah.
what you need to do is go, right, well, I'll make sure that I prepare for that with that in mind.
Mm.
Just humor them.
Yeah. Do you think that imposter syndrome could play a role here as well? That some people are very good at what they're doing, but the more they know, the more doubts they all together?
Yes, I mean, isn't there research that backs that up?
Mm.
That, the feeling that you don't belong or that you rather that not you don't belong, but you're not enough tends to predominate in those who have more experience and more ability. And as soon as if you're wearing this, you actually do wear it in a way that it is recognized within the first few seconds, the way you walk in and the way you sit down.
Mm.
And the process to undo that begins before you walk into the room.
Hmm. Excellent. So how do people now are or can be sure that when they say, hey, I need more confidence, need to believe in myself, how is it possible not to then fall for the trap of maybe come across as either arrogant or worst case even condescending to the other side
Mm.
because you are overconfident suddenly?
So that's an interesting question. How do you stop yourself coming across as arrogant? I think a lot of that is in the nonverbals,
Hmm.
making sure that you get the balance between owning the space. So, for example, let's talk about that side of the scale first. I've seen extraordinarily experienced leaders in digital, in finance, in agriculture, whatever, in technical leaders. They walk into the room and they sit there like they're in the head teacher's office,
Hmm.
right? So that's one end of the scale. And they've got their hands beneath the desk and they're sitting there waiting to be asked the questions. Then you have the other end of the scale, leaning back. Yes, exactly, Niels.
So
Figure of
what's up, Kemp?
four.
What's up, Frankie? So
Yeah, what's up? So,
yeah,
but it's more like,
we got the
in the
deal, right?
figure,
This is all my thing, right? Isn't it? In it?
yeah. So the way you're sitting there, that makes me think I'm on the other side and I'm like, oh, if we don't play it his way.
Yeah.
Now, you need to build rapport non-verbally. Now, there's so much research behind this. The matching, physically or vocally matching other
Hmm.
people, means that they see us as part of their tribe. That you increase your ability to be liked and trusted. However, you do want to take up more space. So, this is something that I have to show people how to do in a way that doesn't look arrogant. You're not an apprentice at the beginning of your career. You don't have to sit there all closed in. You need to push the chair back and stage manage your space. I'll give you an example. I have an exceedingly experienced client who's worked in defense, he's worked for the military, he's working for the government at the moment.
Important roles where your accountability really matters.
Exactly. And I warned him that in many panel interviews, they will position the chair in a certain way, either consciously or unconsciously. They want to see what you're going to do with the space, and they will position it underneath the desk. What they did in the interview that he went into for a local council is they had a children's chair in the middle of the room. It was like a potty. It was like a little chair. And I told him, I said, you claim your space. And we had done the work where we'd gone through his strengths. We'd done a complete SWOT analysis, which is what I do with people. So they're totally prepared for any gaps. They
Hmm.
are very aware of their strengths. And we talk about how to claim your space verbally as well. But here we're talking about the physical
Yeah.
environment. And he looked at it and he laughed and he went, I'm not sitting on that. I'm not five. He said, can I get an adult's chair, please? And he was laughing. So he did it in a very light way.
Yeah.
And they also sort of kind of scattered around trying to find a chair for him, which they did. And he went, oh, thank you so much. That's really comfortable. That's much better.
Yeah.
Um, it's nice to be on eye level. So
Mm.
he's using kind of rapport, conversation, uh, polite requests to calibrate his assertiveness. And then what he does is he claims the space, but he doesn't do it in the most exaggerated way. So, for example, it's none of this with the figure of four where you have your
Mm.
ankle draped across the thigh, but it's more a sense of leaning back. And if somebody else is speaking to him and they're leaning forward, he will lean forward too, but he's not banging his fist against the table because he's got his chair further back. And really, if I can give you all one tip that will help both relaxation, body language, and actually your voice,
Hmm.
pulling the chair back and leaning at the beginning of the interview drops the breath so it becomes abdominal.
Hmm.
That deepens the voice. It allows greater expansiveness of movement, and that movement dissipates nervous energy. So it makes you feel more relaxed and sound more confident, and also gives you more presence. You look and sound like a leader.
Excellent. I think these are the perfect final words for this interview. And here are the news now. This is a part of three interviews, actually, because next up we're going to talk about presence without being loud. But for now, Frankie, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, Niels.